I had that hole and where that grommet was at, and then also that Swiss cheese in the back here. So I'm 4x4 plate. I'm gonna follow the line of this bracket. This bracket right here is what held up the that one, and that one's what held up the fuel tank. The fuel tank set right in here. The fuel spout went out the back, which it no longer is going to. I might use that to route some different items that I'm going to put. I don't want to say what I'm thinking about doing, because it may or may not happen. But if it does happen, it's going to be cool. But anyways, your hangers would hang right there and right there. And then that back bar that I just used that right there to replace, it had the opposite, it had the other hangers. And so the fuel tank set right in here and hung from that. The new tank is coming back about right here. So this here's actually going to get sliced all the way across here, which is absolutely fine. But what I'll do is I'll slice it, and then the new tank sump, the box I'm going to make that's going to sit in here, it will weld to the back side of these right here that are left, so it'll be sturdy. But I'm just going to weld this, bend it right up along this route, then weld all the way around and finish that up. And then I've got a hole right there I need to fix on this side, which is not a difficult one. And like I said, you know, these frame rails still have a few holes in them that are factory, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave these right here. Anything once I get the new suspension in, I'll go back and look. But you know, this frame rail is not sealed between here and there. It's just spot welded, so water could still get over in there. So that's why I said I'm gonna leave this gap right here open on the bottom side of this. That way any water coming down can drain out. Same thing to the back there. I'm gonna leave that gap open. You won't see it though. This whole back section right here, that rear valance sits right across here, so you won't even be able to see that. I need to take that floor pan right there. You see how it's higher than the frame rail? I need to get inside now and beat that down. Now that I've got it all welded from front and back, inside and out, beat that down to the correct shape, and then take a drill bit, and a smaller drill bit, and that's smaller than the threads of the rear bumper mounts, and drill straight up through that to get my position back. And once I get this here beat down from the inside down to the frame rail, I'll weld along the frame rail to that plate, and that'll just make it that much more strong. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to welding this. there it is. All right. Anyways, I'm welding this here up really well on the edges, because this right here, even though it's attached to this right here is what supports the trunk latch. And a while ago, whenever I separated the trunk pan here, that section right there, this here sort of jumped a little bit. So this here needs to be heavily supported. And so I'm welding this beam to that, plate to that, this side, everything down to this inside and outside. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut the sheet for the bottom of the pan. I'm going to go ahead and cut it, bend the edges, put it in here. So now I need to go ahead and mark it out for my bends and bend it. And like I said, I left a 1/4 inch for every bend. So this is actually 1 inch longer than what it's supposed to be, but I've learned off of that bender that I have over there that you have to have that 1/4 inch or you'll end up short. All right. So that's my deep end. That's my shallow end. Yep. And once that gets put in and welded in, that will fit just fine. Great. All right, let's see if this thing will fit. I went ahead and I marked where the old fuel filler door, neck was, and sliced a couple of spots where it can slide in there. I had just stuck it down here, but all right, there it sits. All right, you know what I want to do? I want to get the fuel tank and set right here to see how it's going to look, because I know that those wings are going to sit right here so it won't fall through, but I want to see my gap underneath. Let's hope the tank fits. Perfect. All right, so I can see right now I don't need all of this. But you know what? I'm trying to think. This aluminum's hanging over a little bit. Tank is sitting in there nice. Perfect. Look at that. That is beautiful. So let me get y'all off for a second here. All right, so tank is sitting here beautifully. Like I was saying, up here on this shelf is behind the back seat. That's where I think I'm gonna put my battery at. Is up on that shelf, because from factory I think they had a wall that you could put right here and it would close that off. So if I put my battery up there along with maybe my my fuse panel, like put my battery over here, fuse panel like over here, and then put a wall between that and the fuel tank, you know, golden. We'll see. But this aluminum overhangs the side of this here, so I might cut that a little bit. Oh man, that looks nice, and that's going. The fuel hose will go over. I'm gonna try to get it to lay almost flat, going across here, and then curve up to the neck. And I'm gonna I might get some type of like stainless steel braided outside line. That way it'll be less likely to get punctured. I'm gonna use AN liner here anyway, 10. I think it's -10, because -10 fits my vent that I've made for this. I know this is up in the trunk, but like I said, if I create a box that goes over this and covers this up, I still have room in here. Once the battery in there, I could put a spare tire over here. If I build a box, you know, I can put a spare tire in here. I can put a tool kit over there or over here. It doesn't matter. You know, I've got plenty of room, and this isn't like a, you know, go on vacation car anyway. This is, you know, a touring car, or, you know, but that looks awesome. I'm happy with that. Let me get this up in the air so we can see underneath it. All right, so the back here is fine. I overestimated how much I needed on that front side. So what I might do now is take it back out and actually push this front end up. Oh man, almost an inch, you know, or more. I could probably take an inch out of it and be perfectly fine. That'll even it up to the back. Yeah, if I take an inch out of that, it'd be perfect. I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to sit in there, so that's good to know. And then the rear suspension still got plenty of room. So the old fuel tank sat way back here. You know, it's set further back than this is sitting. So I think I've got plenty of room for my suspension without any issues. You know, I had also toyed with the idea of not making this sump, but I think it's going to be best to make it and get it like set up. Like I said, I'm gonna I can't really see. I'm gonna weld the sump part to those braces right there. Leave those braces in place. And so yeah, looks good. I'm happy with that. I just need to shorten up that front side there, which I can just take and bend another inch. And we can do that right now. I can bend another inch, slice off what I don't need, and go from there. All right, so that's what I'll do. All right, so I went ahead and got that cut. I got this end right here cut, re-bent, and ready to go. We'll go ahead and throw the tank back in and then lift it up and see how she looks. So I've got to do a little cutting on the ribs for the tank. But that's not an issue, because like I said, I'm going to build the walls on the outside for this sump, and then I'm going to use some of that 2x2 to create a box, and then the tank will get bolted down to that box. So let's lift her up and see how she looks. I took a solid inch off of it. It's close. I would say once I get that bend flattened out, it's going to suck it up some more. I've got the back sort of flattened out already, so that's pretty close. So once I hit that 90 and knock it over and weld it in, this should be about right, and then I can go ahead and build my my side panels. So I'm going to build those, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to oversize them just a hair bit to where they can have a lip, and I'm going to have the lip go up into the trunk and tip over. I'm going to have it come down and Z in here, and then also Z in here. I'm going to have it go into the sump it and then weld it from the inside and out. But that's a good that's a good start right there. And what I can do is I can take the sump out and get it square to where my sides, when I weld them in, they're in, and then I can set the whole sump down in and weld it into the trunk. So I take the sump back out, make the sides, weld them in place so it's square from bottom right here all the way up. It's nice and straight. It'll be the same distance from this corner to that corner, from that corner back. And then weld it all up and then set it back in there. And then I can actually weld that sump to the back of this right here. I still got to weld all this right here. This right here is going to be one solid chunk when it's all done. I'm going to go ahead and take that tank back out. I'm going to leave that sump in here. And that way I know where to start at when we come back. I'm going to call it for tonight. Alright guys, so I'm going to let this thing down and call it a night. I appreciate everybody for watching. You know, just so you know, whenever I upload a video, I just finished recording. I haven't stored any videos back. So that's why you go a couple days without seeing a video from me, is because I'm usually working. And I don't have time to come out here and do anything. So on my days off and that I do get to do stuff, I do what I do, and then that night I upload the video. And if you look, usually around midnight, because that's about the time I finish and I upload and I go to sleep. So that's how I do things. I know I could probably make some video and then save it and upload it. Set it for an upload a few days away, but to be honest, the work I'm doing right now in this car, it's so, some of the stuff I'm doing is so time consuming that I guess I don't have time to let a video wait. And I'm kind of excited about it, you know. I like doing stuff, editing it, sharing with y'all what I do that day. I don't like letting things sit. So just so you know that if I'm don't upload for a few days, it's because I haven't had a chance to work on it. The days that I upload, I'm working on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this tank out. Yeah, man, it looks good in there. I'm happy with that. That's gonna sit in there, and like I said, I'm gonna make a box to go over it. I hate to hide it, but I also don't want it to get hit. And this right here was, for me, probably the best option. I know there was probably other things I could have done, but I like this setup, and I wanted the side neck fill, and this for me probably was the easiest way to do it. But I've got this thing sitting here. It's sitting in here pretty doggone straight. I still have to fill that hole back up where it goes out the old filler. So as soon as I get the ledger here welded down, I will make a plate that fills that up. You know what? I might go ahead and fix this window seal, or the window ledge here, get that hole filled, and then go do the firewall and stuff up front. I don't know. I just jump around to what I feel like doing. There's no rhyme or reason for what I'm doing, except I did have a reason to get this trunk done. It wasn't spur of the moment. I needed to cut this out so I could do the welding on that beam going across, and then I also needed to get the other beams welded in for whenever the rear suspension comes, because I need to sort of be doing a little bit of everything of that all at the same time, so it all fits together. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna cut those mounting brackets. I think I'm gonna probably cut maybe 1 inch off of each side, and I think that'll let it sit in there more flat. There's a hump right here. I really can't see it, but it comes across and it drops off right here, and I might just cut it. That's probably about 1 inch and a half. I'm gonna cut all the way across that. Just slice that lip. But these are nice tanks. I'm happy with that. And I know it. You can see that trunk's actually pretty big. And once again, if I get the battery and the fuse panel out of the way, I've got room. I could, like I said, make a box to cover that up. You know what sounds pretty cool? A box with a clear lid. I don't know why. I think that would be neat. Also, just for viewing, for like to look at it and to make sure nothing's wrong, like make sure a hose ain't leaking or something. So if I did a I forget what is the stuff they use for making sound boxes for like speakers. Anyways, if I did that and then took like 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch Lexan or something and laid across the top of it, something that wouldn't get broke, that would look pretty cool. I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, I'm calling it. Good night, guys. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see y'all later.